Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we got a couple of systems to watch here. We got a system going on right now across the upper Midwest. That'll be eventually going for uh the Great Lakes into the Northeast. The Northeast and those mountain ranges may be able to see quite a bit of snow. We also have a system to watch that could be going down to the south that could bring some snow across the Tennessee Valley, even goes back into the plains, and perhaps into the Carolinas and the Virginia area there. So let's go ahead and get started with the GFS model. Currently, what we got going on, we got some snow going on around Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa, Michigan there. That's eventually going to be moving to the east there. You see those higher elevations, so those darker blues mean heavier snowfall totals, and comes along with a trailing front there. And eventually, the front stalls out across the deep south here back into Texas. And you can see here, there's actually a piece of energy going on out here across around Colorado and Kansas. That's eventually going to be going on into the stationary front and it kind of falls along the stationary front. And as you can see here, has a little bit of snow here across Tennessee and the mountains of North Carolina, even portions of Georgia. You can see there's a little bit of snow across Virginia and North Carolina. This is going to be a little bit difficult. Well, not really so difficult. But let's take a look into those snowfall amounts from the GFS here very quickly. And as you can see here across the north, there's a decent amount of snow for around upper in Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and even further down up into the northeast. However, when you look down south, like if you go back to Colorado, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska, uh, from that wave that will eventually turn into a weak low pressure system. Shows quite a bit of snow, especially in those higher elevations. And as you can see here, as it progresses to the east, I think the problem is the moisture does not quite get to the cold air. The cold air is in place, but we just do not have quite enough moisture there. You can see here, probably the best chance for snow at this point could be in the mountains of Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia. And it seems like there's another area for snow along the North Carolina coast, and perhaps the Virginia coast as well, at least for the southeast portion of Virginia there. At least that's my prediction at this point. If we kind of take a look into the Canadian model, which it overdoes pretty much all the time, you can see across the north seems a little bit realistic. You got some areas that could see 5 to 8 inches of snow, and those higher elevations as it reaches to the northeast could see more than 5 to 8 inches there. Going back to the other system, back across Colorado and Kansas, showing some decent snowfall amounts there. But eventually, it's a very similar scenario here. As it kind of reaches to Arkansas and portions of Tennessee, the moisture's not quite in place. You do have the cold air, but the moisture's not. But as you can see here, as you kind of get into southeastern Virginia and northeastern of North Carolina, there's actually an area of snowfall amounts that could be up to 3 or 4 inches. You can see that in the mountains as well, it's a little bit lower. So that's our possibility of a I will not say it's a snowstorm. It could be back in Colorado, but at this point here, it just seems like a normal snow, a little bit of a snow event, just a little bit of a disturbance. At least at this point, a general 1 to 3 inches there. That's probably the bullseye I would say for snow and safe for the mountains in the southern Appalachians or around the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee and North Carolina and even into Virginia. And some also showing may be able to reach it to West Virginia, and that's a possibility as well. Let me show you the model that's kind of overdoing this here. The NAM. I disagree with the name. I think it's overdoing this here, but we'll take a look at the NAM 3KM. But problem with that is this does not go that far out yet, and this is not even finished either. So if I were to guess, it'd probably be showing snowfall amounts possibly up to 16 inches across the Carolinas. I highly doubt this solution at this point. Unless there's a trend going on, which there's currently not really a trend at this point here to show higher snowfall totals. You can see here there's some decent snowfall amounts across Tennessee and Arkansas. Very similar scenario where there's just not a lot of snow for some of those areas. If you go back to around Colorado, you can see some of that snow is a little bit further up to the north around Nebraska. But again, I really have to disagree with the name. But some people probably be hoping for this here to happen, but I highly doubt it at this time compared to other models. If we look into the European model, oh yeah, this is the name 3K. You can see it only goes out 60 hours. Doesn't reach to this area yet, but as you can see here, it does show a little bit of snow across around Nebraska and around Colorado, a decent amount of snow. So at least we have an agreement that in the mountains of Colorado, New Mexico, can see a pretty good amount of snow, potentially up to 10 inches or more. And if we kind of move on to the European model for the next 5 days, as you can see here, pretty similar scenario to the GFS. Some of those higher elevations may be able to get 1 to 2 inches. If you kind of go into North Carolina or around the Virginia Beach area, jitter 1 to 2 inches, kind of like the Canadian model. And I think this is the more realistic solution, but in the same time here, the ground temperature, like at the surface, like on the grass areas, the grassy areas and stuff, is probably going to be too warm for snow, and the pavement will be too warm to cause any uh, road issues here. I don't see any icing that would happen with this system here. It just depends on the cold air, if it's going to be very cold or not. As you can see here around Raleigh, 43 degrees, which is the next 5 days, of course, which is about around Friday or Saturday. Yeah, around Saturday. And you can see here, if we move in a little bit closer, kind of back this up here a little bit. We're not there yet. Oh, here it is. Around Thursdays is when it's going to happen, because wherever it's going to happen, as you can see here, some snow going into those higher elevations. If we kind of going overnight for some of those colder temperatures, you can see here a pretty good swath of some snow showers or flurries across North Carolina and Virginia. And I'll say that's a pretty good possibility. I think you guys could see some snow. It it's just not gonna be a lot. My forecast will probably be only 1 to 2 inches at this point here. And the best chance for snow will be more than likely going to be for some of those higher elevations across around Tennessee and North Carolina and Virginia, and probably seeing in probably another area for best chance the snow will be in this other blue circle as well. So both of these areas here probably have the best chance of snow. There's also a good agreement where most of those snowfall totals will be as well. But as you've seen from the NAM, it's just completely overdone unless the models bring up those snowfall totals a little bit higher. And I also heard from somebody that models typically bring it a little bit too far to the south and they kind of sag a little bit to the north as we get closer to the time frame. I honestly don't really believe that, in my opinion. Um, I remember one event across Kentucky here, whenever it was to our south for most of the snow, it actually stayed to the south. So, and that was a little bit earlier. I forgot when it was. I think it was all the way back to November or something like that. But there's also another system coming in that I've mentioned about in the Facebook group and Twitter. Around the 26th here, there was a chance of severe weather. It doesn't quite show that anymore, which is the good news there. But as you can see here, the pretty much a bombing out system here. At least it's like one. But I think the best chance of severe weather any for concerns would be this system right here, and that'll be across the deep south here. And as you can see here, if we kind of move back, it kind of happens around Monday. It's not that strong of a system, but you can see here, there's some moisture in place. What the models were showing a few days ago, which it looked like a pretty good system that could bring in some pretty good severe weather. It doesn't show that now. That's what the trend's been so far. Now things could change around the 26th here. At least that's been the time frame for it, which is this system right here. And the reason why I mentioned about this because there is such a good agreement. Pretty much all the models across the board had agreement that this can happen here. Now the models are there's some uncertainties growing, which is pretty ridiculous. In my opinion, the models so far this year just been terrible. I'll just say that there's not been any good agreements. At this point here, there is a good agreement here, but the NAM still disagrees um, with the system coming in for across the south here around Tennessee Valley and around the East Coast there as well. But anyways, guys, this is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of a snow event across the south video. If you all did like this video, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you never miss an upload. If y'all guys got questions about this, you put in the comment section down below. I will answer you guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.